they really don't necessarily need the commitment of a permanent hair color can get their coverage with a demi-permanent that's ammonia free. It's going to be more gentle and less, there's going to be no harsh line of demarcation.
And then the 9 ball is for deposit only.
The 9 volume is for deposit only. 6 volume really doesn't give you that much deposit because it's just not able to, there's not enough oxygen in that developer to develop enough of the color molecules in this tube to be able to see a difference. So with Dia Richesse, you want to stick with either 9 or 15 volume.
So if I have, like I use Redken Camel color for my gentleman. So if I were to change them over to this, this would fade out as they shampoo also then, right? I could just use the 9 volume just to deposit only, right?
You could, yes.
So if I had a gentleman who is, I would say, 75% white, he likes just a little bit of a blonde on there, but he likes the way that the camel color fades out as he shampoos. How would that work?
This would actually be a little bit more long-lasting than the camel color because the camel color is designed, because we have our Cover 5 for men, and we'll talk about that as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The processing time on this to get the coverage for men is a little longer than the 5 minutes. Okay, because to get that kind of coverage, you want to leave it on for the full 20 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
And so with that, that's where that challenge is with men. Yeah. Yeah, and it's ammonia free. It is definitely more gentle, but because it's ammonia free, it doesn't have the ability to really penetrate that far in, and so you're going to get a longer lasting result if you leave it on for the full 20 minutes than you would with a camo color. But that time to be able to develop that. You have a wider selection with Dia Richesse than you do with the Cover 5. So if they're looking for a little bit more tone, or if you're feeling that they need to have a little bit more tonal value into that, then definitely I would go with the Dia Richesse. Okay. Yeah.
So a quick question. So if I had a gal who is, say, 50% white, maybe a level 7 color, and I'm adding, she wants a little golden tone. So, if she's fading, well, I think I just answered my own question in my head, sorry.
Cheryl Claristus.
She's fading out a little orange or a little brassy.
Okay.
So then I would just basically mix the Richesse the same way I would mix permanent color, adding a little bit of a blue, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And actually the shade right here would be the 7.01, which is a level 7 natural ash, natural blue.
Natural blue. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just for a visual, I'm like 30 to 40% white hair, evenly distributed throughout. I've got a higher concentration like right on this side for some reason. I'm a Dia Richesse client. My natural level is a 5, and I use 6.3 15 volume Dia Richesse on the top, and then on my ends where it's highlighted, I just go over it with 8.34 Dia Richesse.
Can I see your base like up close real quick?
Absolutely.
I say it because, okay, yeah, I would say 6.3 as well. Well, borderline looking almost 5-ish.
There's a band here where I was using a 4 and
Okay, because I feel like as a salon whole, the 5, 6, 7 series right? That's been the hardest one to get everyone to switch over from Redken's line to L'Oreal's. I find that you always are going a level lighter because afraid of the true tone. Now, I've been trying to think about what it is as far as if it's correct developer choice and certain things like that, because then I know Lily's had an issue putting like a 6 on with 20 volume and it just coming back super orange. So then we switched it to cool coverage, which this is already answering my things. Yeah, too opaque. So then going a little bit lighter, which, yeah.
So depending on the texture of their hair and how much white hair you're dealing with, they could be a Dia Richesse client.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is the lower volume developer, you're not exposing all that underlying pigment.
Oh, my God, you just gave me my aha moment of 10 years with L'Oreal. Huh.
So then, like for me, I don't, who's colored my hair? I don't think I have that much. I have like a little patch in the front and just a few here and there everywhere because my hair goes freaking orange. All my baby fine little hairs, I don't care if I use some volume, it goes orange.
So the Dia Richesse would be a good choice for you. If you're using your base color as like a level 7 and then doing the highlights, is that usually what you're doing?
No, I want like a level 5.
Okay.
That's going to be probably the closest.
Then definitely Dia Richesse.
You think just straight 5? N?
Oh yeah, 5N. And actually I would go with 6N and then leave it on for the full 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go one shade lighter,
Yeah.
6N.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then, am I using 15 volume?
That was just my question. Because of gray?
Do I want to lift it? If I start lifting, then that's going to be orange again.
If your biggest concern
My biggest concern is the orange.
then use 9 volume. Then go ahead and use a 9 volume because you are adding highlights to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if there are a few white pieces that maybe didn't get the coverage, they'll be blended through with the highlights,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But you want to have a little bit deeper base
Mm-hmm.
and not have it be orange.
Yes.
So going with a 6N, you could do 5N at that point. So it's 5N or 6N with the 9 volume for 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
So, but the 15 would give you the better coverage, right? On average, on the average person. And then if you wanted it to be like a 5, maybe going like 6.1 with 15 volume, if they are,
Yeah.
well,
Depending
6,
on the sensitivity, I
yeah.
would just do, yeah.
Start with that and see if you need to add blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I always add gold for white hair coverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us why you always add gold for white hair coverage.
What's white hair missing?
Pigment.
Everything.
What's the last tone to leave the hair?
Gold. The yellow.
So that white hair needs to have at least something in there. And this is, I don't know if it's just me, and this is just how I've rationalized it, but I always feel that if I've put gold in my formula for white hair coverage, then all the rest of the pigment has something else to hang on to in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if it's just white, and granted that all of our naturals are equal parts, red, yellow, and blue,
Right.
but just having that gold in there just gives it just that little bit extra life, just gives it just that little bit, I'm not white anymore.
You're not doing like half of your formula. You're just doing like a quarter.
Yeah.
So then, if I had a guest and I put the gold in, now would I? So say if I did like a level 7, okay. So I would put a quarter of it, 7.3. Now would I do a 7.1 to neutralize that gold?
You really aren't going to need to neutralize that gold. But it depends on how much white hair is in there. The higher percentage of white hair, if I'm working on a 70% white hair client and I want to use a Dia Richesse, I'm going to put gold in my formula. So it's the same type of concept as any of our permanent hair colors as well. with Majorelle. If you were at 50%, you're gonna formulate for white hair, so half your formula is gonna be the natural for a cool shade, gold for a warm shade. So in that case, if you wanted to do, you could do your natural and then your cool. You could do your 7.1.
Okay, so go back to the like half formula part.
Okay, so with our permanent hair colors, Majorelle for example, when we are trying to cover 100% white hair, but it's the ratio is 50% white hair, but we want 100% coverage of that. Does that make sense?
You went to 100 to 50 to 100.
Okay. So our client is 50% white hair, and our goal is complete coverage of that.
Okay.
All right. So if we were to just use our target shade, we may not get 100% coverage of that white hair. Right? We may not get total coverage of that white hair because there may not be enough of the red, yellow, and blue in equal parts to get into that. Is everybody with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at L'Oreal Professionnel, we recommend that when you, at that point, we have to adjust our formulation to make sure that we have enough of the natural to cover the white hair. So our formulation would be half of our target shade and half of the corresponding natural for a cool tone shade.
So, okay, so half of the target shade, or the natural shade. So if that were a level 7 with 50% white, you would do half the formula in a 7N, and then the other half would be the 03.
Well, you could do the 7. You could do 7.1.
Yeah.
Or you could do 7.13. You could do.
But I need to put the gold in. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's
It's
just
a choice. If
yeah.
you're doing a warm tone shade, you're going to definitely need the golds in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I just want a neutral.
If you want a neutral, just use the neutrals.
I would do
The neck.
half of my formula in an N. Then I could go back, and if I wanted a little cooler, the 7.1.
Exactly.
But if I just wanted, what if I just wanted just totally neutral?
Then just use your neutral. Just use your 7N.
Okay. And then if it fades out a little too warm, then I do the 0.1 the next time. But if I wanted it a warmer shade or like an auburn type.
We do have warm shades in Dior Chefs. So we have auburns, we have reds in Dior Chefs.
So all of these formulas that we're talking about will go through all of your color lines, right? Universal. Okay, so then if I wanted something warmer, I would do half 7N, half like 7.34.
You could, but say your target shade was the 7.34.
Okay.
And they wanted that warmth. And they're at 50% white hair. They want the coverage, but they still want to keep that tone. And if we were to put half of the formula with natural, it would brown out some of that warmth, agreed?
Right.
So then what we would do is half of our formula would be our warm target shade, the 7.43, and then the other half of our formula would be 7.3.
7.3?
That way we would get, because remember when we talked about what was in the tube of color with the tones? So say this is a triple tone shade, there's only so much natural, so much 7, and then it's a 0.43, so there's more 0.4 and then a small amount of 0.3.
Okay, yeah,
Right?
we wrote that out. It's on that.
And then if we were to use a 7N with that, that would add a lot of 7, and that would really take away a lot of our tonal value. Agreed? Right? And we want that tonal value. That's why we're using a double tone warm shade, because we want to see that warmth. So what we would do is we would take half of our target shade, which would be half of the 7.43, and then with the single tone shade, remember it's half tone, half natural. So with what I would do is I would add to my formula, to my target shade of the 7.43, I would add half of the 7.3. because that's going to give me enough natural to cover the white and enough warmth